Anyone who feels helpless is under manipulation. The manipulation of those on top, letting you think that the reason why I'm successful is because I'm different. I was born different. It's impossible for you to ever reach these heights. So why even try? What a perfect way to eliminate the competition. What a perfect way to give you more power, to make people think that they're powerless, and to make them think that you have all the power. So rather than them taking action to achieve their goals, they rather worship you. A passive aggressive way of dealing with your own self-doubt. Fuck worshiping other people. Today I want to show you your greatest power. And your greatest powers comes in 3 different things that makes humans so unique. And because of that, if you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org. Oh, today's the 7th, 8th, right? The 8th? No more discounts, people. Y'all are asking me to move it up another day, and y'all gonna make me look like a liar, people. Y'all gotta stop that shit, trying to sabotage Father Alex. So it's over. Wait till next year until we get 50% off. But right now, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org without a coupon code and get a one-on-one phone call with me. All right, so the first ability that you guys have to master, that you have to tap into, is the ability to predict. Oh, fuck. The future. And every single human, we have the ability to predict the future. Now, why the future? Well, understand the future doesn't exist. It's an abstract concept because the future always happens in the now. So in order for an animal to understand the concept of future, he has to have the capacity to talk about fiction, to talk about what doesn't exist. The problem with animals is that animals have such a deep connection to their environment that they can't get out of that moment. They can't think of what's going to happen tomorrow. They can't think of what's going to happen a few weeks from now. They're on an automatic present mode. Humans, on the other hand, we developed language. And so we're able to speak about things that doesn't exist. You can't speak about the future with just your hands, but you're able to speak about the future with words. There's no sign language that says 10 years. Well, maybe there is, sorry, sign people. But the point is that humans have the ability to create fiction. So this ability isn't just about gossiping for all the chismosos out there, but it's also about being able to self-fulfill your own future, to fulfill your own future. So what you want to be able to do is, the way that you tap into this ability is to narrow your focus. You narrow your focus by focusing on the greater goal. It's very easy to forget why you're doing things, right? It's very easy to do things and forget the reason why you're doing it. Forget that there's a larger picture. For example, let's just say you're trying to become a great basketball player, but one of your teammates is an asshole, but he does teach you good. So you have 2 options. Focus on the asshole, or remember that you're learning this because you want to get better at basketball. What you'll notice is that your decision-making will change, right? If you focus on the bad of him being an asshole, you're going to lose focus on what? Your greater goal. So this is why a lot of people tend to change their goals a lot, because they're not focused enough. They want this thing and that thing, and then the next 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 thing. They don't really know what they want. They only want what other people want. So they never truly stay in one place. You got to know exactly what you want. You need clarity. You need clarity and stick to a plan. Stop changing plans from time to time. Stick to something. And one of the ways that people like lose focus of their plans is personal battles between people. Like, for example, you're staying with your mom, but you're trying to save up money, but she's a fucking bitch. What do? Deal with the bitchiness or save up money? You get what I mean? So sometimes when you know the goal, that it's to help you save money in the next 2 years, then you're able to have your decision making improves. But if you focus on the battle, you're gonna forget about your larger goal. And honestly, that is the source of why people don't succeed. They're not focusing. They're looking at what other people have, what other people are enjoying, and they assume that they'll like it themselves. They're not in touch. They don't know themselves, right? So remember, your ability to predict the future through setting your goals is a superpower. Like, I was able to manifest this future through what I'm talking about. And the more you set goals, the easier they become. And then the next thing is focus on the greater goal. Every day, remember, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you do this and not that? Because it's so easy to forget. Literally, like, it really is easy to forget. The next thing is widening your perspective. When it comes to achieving your goals, it's very easy to look at it from your own point of view. For example, if I'm trying to make better YouTube titles, most people would just start looking at the dating channels. What I tell people to do is look for the people in your niche, put it in a different language, see how they word it. Or go look for a different niche and look for titles that have a format that can be applied to yours. In other words, bring something that's for something else and try to repurpose it for what you're doing. Don't just look at it from your point of view. If you want to be a business person, study all the other types of businessmen and how they moved up. Study their childhood, study their education. Go study someone who became a successful business person in Africa, in China, and in South America. They all have a different perspective. And what you want to be able to do is inundate yourself with all of these points of views, right? And that will actually increase your decision making, right? And the most important, not the most important thing, but always take the indirect route. Never take the direct route. Always take the route of least expectations. What I mean by that is this: if you want a job, don't say I want a job. Instead of that, offer something to the prospective employee. If you want to be able, for example, what's an example of that? I wanted to. A perfect example is like doing these things, right? The whiteboard, right, or green board. Because if you take the indirect route, you're taking a new route. Most people just try to go straight for it. They try to get that job. They don't know about the art of charming. They don't know about the art of winning people over. So if you want a favor from someone, do them a favor a few months earlier. If you want someone to treat you good and to think positively of you, rather than saying how much you like them, tell someone else how much you like them. Rather than telling a person that you like them, tell some chismoso that you like them, and that chismoso will tell her. That's the point. Take the indirect route. Rather than telling people, I'm gonna kill you, tell someone else, I'm gonna kill them, motherfucker. That actually penetrates the mind with more depth, right? Take the indirect route. And when you fail, when you have a goal, and you're focused on it, and you allow yourself to see it from different points of views, study it from the Chinese point of view, from the military fighter point of view, from the Buddhist point of view, and then you take the indirect route, the next thing you want to be able to do is when you fail, which you will, you're not Black Jesus, you don't want to ask yourself what's wrong with people, but what I did wrong. People, one of the good things about me is that I never blame other people. I solely take responsibility. And I think this is actually the most powerful thing. Because, for example, let's just say I have a drawing group, right? And only 2 people arrive. It's very natural for you to feel defensive and say, oh, these motherfuckers don't know art. But what are you doing wrong? You think you're doing everything perfect when you're not. And that's the thing. We have blind spots. And when you don't know the reason why you contribute to your failure, then you're never really going to succeed. And when you don't know how much luck had to do with your success, you can never replicate it because you're completely divorced from reality, right? Now, the next one, let's go over here. The next thing is being able to read people, right? That's your next greater power. It's being able to predict the future, but now you got to deal with humans. Yeah, for all you autistic motherfuckers, you got to deal with humans. So the first thing to do, oh my God, I don't know why I put this. These are like quizzes for me, man. So what you want to understand, and this is actually something that most people don't even do, but it can tell you so much about the person. Just knowing the things that I'm gonna tell you will allow you to read people like a book. Some people don't read, but oh no, sorry, that's an illiterate joke. No bueno, sorry people. Well, I do struggle spelling, so you guys can make fun of me. So the first thing is understanding a person's fear. What they fear will dictate to you a lot of their decision making. If you know they're a fearful person and they're trying to come up with a plan to not fail, you might notice that they'll be precautious when in reality it's just fear, right? And so understanding what they fear most in life will give you a big indication. If they fear death, that tells you a lot. If they fear being alone, that tells you a lot. I remember one time, my mom, she went to a restaurant one time, and at that moment, I really didn't think much of it, right? But she was like, I went to Red Lobster, and I was sitting eating my lobster, but I was alone. I saw everyone this woman had a husband, this woman had her son and stuff like that, but I was eating alone. In my mind, I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? We don't eat, that's normal, But then years later, I'm like, oh, so it's almost like she fears being alone, right? She can't just be happy on her own. And rather than me resent that and say, yo, Mom, man up, stop being a little bitch, Mom, you have to understand that some things in people just can't change, right? Actually, This is actually a really big one. Uh, right? And so understanding their fears and having compassion for their fears, seeing them as a child. You gotta understand, man, when people date you, what they really want to show you is their inner child. Everyone's afraid to let go, to show that we have fun, to show that we're silliness, to show that we're not professional from time to time, to show that we're able to let go of the adult exterior. And what people want to be able to do is not trauma dump you, but they want to trauma dump you to a certain extent. Right? They want to be able to be their creepy, vulnerable selves around you and not feel judged. One of the ways is to understand a person's fear, and you don't have to tell them you understand it, but you just hold it within you. The next thing is understanding their desires. Try to find out, what does this person really want, right? Do they really want kids? Do they really want to be career oriented? Do they really want this or that? Do they want to live in Africa? Do they want to live there? You want to understand their deepest desires. What did they want when they were children? What did they want that they didn't get, right? What are the complaints they give you from their childhood that they want to relive? For example, they usually say that guys who are into little kids, never, a lot of times, they most likely never had friends and they want to relive that. Obviously, it's an exaggeration. If somebody says they don't have friends, you can't think of that. But understanding what they want and their unfulfilled desires says so much. The next thing is what they envy. What they envy, who they hate, who they're jealous of. Once, for example, if, and it's actually true, if you hate the elite, that's usually a reflection of envy a lot of the times. Like that's actually, we hate the rich because we're envious of them. Right? If somebody hates gays, well, most likely you're gay, right? Like, oh, no, or if somebody, with my mom, right, when she was looking at the lady eating at the cafeteria and she was alone, right? That says a lot. Like, envy of a family, right? And just having that understanding. For example, like, I remember I used to date this person, and she said how the reason why she loves her animals so much is because her animals can never abandon her. Like, she knows that her animals will always love her, but she doesn't know the same thing about other people, right? And I was like I noticed those things. I was like, and when you understand the depth of people, understand those little things, those insecurities, what happens is that you start to love those insecurities. In fact, you want to help them. You want to save them from themselves. Obviously, don't save people, but you want to be a support system for them. The next thing is that you must change your perspective and be motivated, because honestly, the real key to reading people is to give a fuck. Literally. It's just most people don't give a fuck. You don't care about knowing what other people have to say because you think you have something more interesting to say. So change your perspective. See people as more interesting. See people as a puzzle to understand. And that will change it. But if you have no motivation to understand people, you can't understand it. Now, another test. Shit. Oh, yeah. The next thing is mirror them. It's very easy when you first meet people to put up a wall of judgment. Oh, he does crack? Fuck that. Oh, he's Saudi? Right? And so this causes people to sense that there are parts in them that you might judge. And so they close themselves off. You got to be more open-minded, or at least appear open-minded, and not be so judgmental. You being judgmental of others causes people to hide their flaws in front of you. That's just how it is, right? So mirror them. If they say they believe fucking the Batman was good, if you really want to find out how they see the world, go with their flow. Go with whatever they're saying. Even copy their body language, mimic their body language will allow you to see the world from their point of view. And the next thing is developing empathy. If you don't give a fuck about about reading people, first of all, you're gonna fail in life. You're gonna make a lot of enemies. And if that doesn't motivate you enough, well then you wanna literally change the structure of your brain. And one of the ways to do that is to developing a meditation practice. And I prefer meta meditation. If you lack empathy for all the psychopaths, practice meta meditation. It will literally change your brain to become more compassionate, right? Now the next thing, let's go over here. So to me, outside of being able to predict the future through like a self-fulfilling prophecy and being able to read other people, the next thing is detachment, right? Detachment is pretty much knowing when to focus on something and when to focus on something else. Meaning, when a situation arises, it becomes your complete focus. When a situation disappears, then all of a sudden what's in front of you becomes important. When you're attached, when things move, you follow it, right? And when I mean move, I mean your mental, the mind, the things that move in your mind. I want this, I want that. Once they move, you follow it. You don't learn how to let go. You don't know how to stay in reality, meaning you're more in your mind than in your body, right? The way to deal with reality is to always bring awareness to the physical sensation of the body. That will always tell you what to focus on. It could be the breath, for example. For me, it's the breath. For other people, it's like it's the full body. But choosing to focus on sensations more than on the thoughts of your mind literally detaches you. For example, let's just say you're late for a flight and there's traffic, okay? And you're in traffic and you're like, in your mind, you're like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? I'm gonna be late. Okay, what's that really doing for the situation? Nothing. What's the difference between sitting in traffic and thinking about it versus sitting in traffic and just feeling the body? Just feeling your hand. Feel that hand. What you'll notice is that nothing's changing other than your state of mind. When you're following your thoughts, my thought there, my thought there, my thought there, my thought there, your focus moves so much that you lose connection with your body. The way to connect with your body is to focus on one thing. And you'll notice that clarity becomes illuminated. So bring awareness to the body or scan the body as whatever you're doing that's negative, or maybe maybe you're sad or maybe you're stressed, just feel the body. And you'll notice that peace arises from the body. And then the beauty about it is that the more you feel the sensations of the body, the less real the mental formations are. Meaning, the more you will know that I'm not angry, it's just a feeling that I'm angry and it'll go away. You know that feeling when you're angry, you're like, you motherfucker, and you really want to follow through, right? It feels real, right? You're like, oh, this motherfucker did something to me. As opposed to feeling anger, but having the distance to say, you know what? I know I'm angry, but it's just a feeling. That is like the difference between believing it's real and believing it's just a fleeting thing that will come and pass away. When you meditate and sit down, you start to see that pattern. You start noticing the desire to meditate and then the desire to not meditate, to meditate and not meditate. And that literally teaches you that everything passes. That experience will give you the confidence to, whenever you feel stressed, to do this because you saw it so many times as you meditate. Other things you want to do is lower expectations, right? You detach by having realistic expectations. A lot of people think they're models when they're ugly people. I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of people think, oh my God, I deserve it, papi chulo for me. Like, no, you don't, okay? You don't even take care of yourself. You have a lot of issues that you just refuse to accept, and you want your own Leonardo DiCaprio, your own fucking Antonio Bandera. That shit don't work, okay? Sorry, people. So you have to be realistic, man. You cannot have everything in life. A lot of people are just delusional about what they deserve in life. You know, I'm not saying don't go for the stars, but fuck me, be realistic, man. You know how many guys I talk to that are literally 300-pound gorillas living under their mom's basement, mad that a model didn't want to go out with them? I mean, seriously, people legit do that. There is a problem in society with people just being completely detached from reality. So lower your expectations, be realistic about where you are in life, believe more in yourself, practice meditation, practice empathy, and above all, if you desire something bad enough, you could use that desire as a way to predict the future. If you don't desire something bad enough, you can never make it happen. You have to be obsessed. It has to be something that consumes you, and you'll notice everything will fall into place, okay? So remember, your greatest power in life, predicting the future. Actually, let's read it over here quickly, because it's much better, because you guys like me when I do that, so yeah. So remember, your greatest power, being able to understand people, their fears, their desires, who they envy, because that tells you a lot about their dark side. Change your perspective and find motivation to want to read people, right? Mirror them to find out their flaws. Go with the flow. Go with their energy. If they're high energy, be high energy. If they're low energy, be low energy. Develop empathy and compassion through practicing meditation. Now, the biggest danger, I forgot to put, is projection, right? You think that people want what you want. For example, like with YouTube, I used to say to myself, how come YouTube channels, like you have channels that have like 2 or 3 videos, but they have like 100K views. And you ask yourself, why didn't they continue? Well, because maybe they weren't motivated to do it. Maybe they had a comfy job or whatever. But my inability to not understand why they wouldn't take that opportunity is projection. Because the way I see it is I would jump on that opportunity. But not everyone is the same. And so you can see how this projection, assuming that everyone thinks the same as you, which is narcissism, it gets in the way in reading people, right? And last but not least, it is the ability to predict the future, right? We have a guy reading the future. So remember, believe that what you say or what you desire becomes real. If you desire something long enough, you'll make it happen. Focus on the greater goal. Don't let the chismosos blind you and distract you from what you have to do. Don't let drama and fights get in the way, right? When you widen your perspective, don't just see how to achieve your goal in one point of view. See it from multiple point of view, from the view of a child, from the view of the past, from the view from president, from the view from a racist. Who gives a fuck? Widen your perspective as much as possible. And always take the indirect route. If you want to win people over, don't tell them you want to win them over. Take the indirect route. If you want to compliment them, say a compliment about them so that somebody else could tell them that, right? And above all, when you fail, don't be a victim. Realize your failures are your own mistakes. And the beauty about it is that means if you actually focus on fixing your mistakes rather than taking it personal, then you'll notice that whatever you set becomes a reality, right? Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Look, if you guys want to learn more about this, I have 2 courses. Emotional Mastery, which is literally a course on how to detach, literally. The Feminine Woman, which is a course on self-help and how to set and achieve your goals. And those are the 2 courses that goes with this type of video, okay? Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org.